what Netflix didn't show you that I've further learned about the case watching additional informational videos on it. So hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Karina. Go ahead and click that subscribe button down below and turn on post notifications. That way you get notified every time I upload a new video. Today, I wanted to do something a little bit different on my channel. Today, in honor of spooky season and Halloween coming up, which is my favorite season of the year because it unleashes Scorpio season, the best season of all. I wanted to do a little bit of a story time / mystery true crime and tell you guys a little bit about a very interesting and trending case going on in the world right now. So, if you don't know me, I was actually a criminal justice major in... Oh my god, when I play that back, I'm gonna look like I literally just saw a freaking ghost. So, if you don't know me, I was actually a criminal justice major all throughout school, always had a huge, heavy interest in criminal justice and mysteries and solving crimes, and I actually wanted to be a homicide detective. Don't ask me why I didn't. That's a whole different story. If you haven't seen American Murder, The Family Next Door, it is a new trending documentary that's on Netflix right now. It consists of all of this footage that's gathered from police body camera footage of arriving on site at the scene, as well as archived social media posts on Shanann's Facebook, as well as phone records and everything else that they are allowed to now put out in the public eye now that the case is fully closed and has gone to jury and he has been prosecuted. But there are a lot of things that people are starting to notice that were familiar with this case when it happened back in 2018 and it was more active, that they're starting to notice was missing in the documentary that Netflix put out. Now, the documentary that Netflix put out is a true crime documentary, so it is created by a very viable source. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and pause this video. Don't click out of it. Pause this video, go watch it, and then come back to this video. That way you don't get any spoilers ruined. If you haven't watched it by now, you've probably heard about it. It's a case of a man that killed his wife and his two younger children, his two baby girls. He did it what seems like in cold blood, so I'm going to get into details of the case and kind of just what Netflix didn't show you that I've further learned about the case watching additional informational videos on it. So let's get into the case. So the case is about a man named Chris Watts, and he murders his wife and his two baby girls. He does this by portraying it as a disappearance, that his wife came home after a trip with her girlfriends. He left for work at like 5 a.m. and all he knew after that was that his girls were missing and his wife was missing. So once further investigating, that tends to not be the case. So a concerned friend that was actually supposed to take his wife, Shanann, to a doctor's appointment that morning, shows up and she wasn't there. Apparently she called Chris, the husband, and he says that Shanann took the girls on a play date and he left for work so early in the morning, he has no idea, he hasn't talked to her. So he's trying to cover up his steps by texting Shanann, asking where she is, where are the girls, if they're doing okay, yada yada. Meanwhile, Shanann's friend does a citizen's welfare check, so she calls the police to come to the house and figure out what is going on, why Shanann's not home, why she's not answering. So who is Shanann? Shanann was someone that portrayed her life on Facebook like it was a blog. So she was always documenting every family vacation, every trip, every treatment she went through when she did have a very severe illness, which caused her to have multiple doctor's appointments. She claimed during this time of getting better from her recent illness that Chris had come into her life. She had valued the time that Chris had came into her life so much because he had come into her life at her worst. And if he loved her and could put up with her at her worst, then they could go through anything together. So once they get further into the case, they start looking into neighborhood footage. One of the neighbors does make a pretty bold statement in regards to how Chris was acting when Chris and the police showed up to his house to look at his security cam footage to see if he had any view of their house, their driveway, to see anything going on, see what time Shanann and the kids left, if someone came to the house while Chris had been at work. Mysteriously, when they show up to the neighbor's house, a American Horror Story commercial comes on of a baby fetus that is in the womb and then to a skull. So a lot of people have said this was some sort of like indication that the baby, because Shanann was pregnant, some indication that the fetus was not okay, that the fetus was dead, some sort of representation that mysteriously something is very, very wrong here. So they go over the security cam footage from the neighbor and they don't see anything. They don't see anyone arrive to the house. They don't see Shanann or the girls leave the house. They see absolutely nothing. So Chris then goes back to his house to still scramble and act as if he is very concerned. The police stay back with the neighbor witness that they went through his security camera footage, and they speak with him privately without Chris being there. The neighbor then states that Chris is acting very, very strange. He's not acting like himself. He apparently was more so a reserved type of person, and him being super chatty and talkative and very anxious is very, very peculiar to his usual behavior. Now, all of this happened within hours of Shanann and the girls being killed. So he truly did not get away with it for long at all. So in the Netflix documentary, it shows how Chris kind of turned his personality from the beginning one way as a worried husband, worried father, to admitting that he had committed the crimes. So when he first admits that he committed the crime in a lie detector test, he admits that Shanann, which is the wife, strangled the kids after they got into a fight after she came home from that girls' trip, and out of rage and anger he then killed Shanann as well by strangling her with a pillow and then disposed of their bodies. He said that he couldn't admit to it because he wanted to save face for Shanann, he wanted to protect her. We then later find out he admits that he has a mistress. So this mistress is a woman named NICHOL KESSINGER. Now, remember that name, remember the mistress, because we will get back to her. He did allow for these statements that Shanann was truly the one that killed her children to become public, and it caused so much controversy as to the type of mother that she was based off of the way she portrayed her family on Facebook and the way she posted updates about her family on Facebook. People in America completely ripped her apart as an unfit mother, and no wonder why Chris killed her. He then admits to his father the full extent of the crime and that Shanann did not actually kill the children. What the story then changed to was that he had killed Shanann as they had gotten into a fight because she had accused him of cheating on her. Now, in the documentary, it does show phone records of Shanann texting some of her closest girlfriends in regards to the lack of sexual nature in their relationship, the constant fighting that they were going through, and the assumption that she believed that he was cheating on her. So, apparently, when she came home from that girls' trip, she had confronted him about this cheating idea. Because she did that, he did not see it as worth the fight, so he killed her. He strangled her in her bed in their bedroom, and the kids then walked in, kind of asking, "What's wrong with mommy?" What he now says, after this documentary has come out, where he admitted that he did kill Shanann and the children, he says that he did not kill them once, he killed the children twice. He says that he strangled them before strangling Shanann and didn't realize they were still alive when they came in the room to discover their mother's dead body. So he drove the dead body of his pregnant wife and his 2 baby girls out to that landfill mine that he worked on. He then buried Shanann with only 8 inches of dirt and broke a rake while in the process. He was so careless in this action that she was buried face down because that is the way her body tumbled out of the sheet that he transported her in. He then says that the children were still alive and he had dumped their bodies into an oil tank. They are fully conscious and fully aware of what their father has just done to their mother and what their father is doing to them. Now, when the mistress was called into questioning in regards to the case, she claims that when they had first met, he had never mentioned kids or a wife, which then later is proven untrue. So after this documentary came out, which did not shed a lot of light into Nicole Kessinger and her history and her involvement in the case, once they started looking into Nicole Kessinger more, they realized when it came to her Google searches, her text messages, and her phone history, she had some sort of involvement in the case that the documentary did not show. In the documentary, you see that Nicole Kessinger gets pulled into questioning. She claims that she thought it was amazing that he had kids. When it comes to what Nicole, the mistress, was looking into, she looked a lot into Shanann's name, Chris Watts' name on Google. She started to look a lot into Amber Frey. If you don't know who Amber Frey is, she is an ex-mistress of someone that is a murderer as well. So essentially she was in Nicole's position, the mistress of someone that appeared to be a murderer. Amber Frey went on to write a book, a memoir, about her experience as being the mistress during the crime, during the trial, all the after effects, and how it affected her life and where she is today. Now, when Nicole was searching for her, she wasn't just searching for Amber Frey and who she is. She was searching for, do people hate Amber Frey? Did Amber Frey make a lot of money off of her book deal? Indicating that she was maybe looking to take the same course that Amber did in writing some sort of book or documentary or memoir in regards to being the mistress of someone that murdered their entire family. Now, on top of that, phone records have been released of where she was location-wise during the time of the murder, also what types of conversations she was having with different people at the time. In her phone history and her text message records, it shows that she was fully aware and never fully referred to Shanann by her name. She only referred to her as the spouse. She referred to Shanann's vehicle as the white vehicle. She can never bring herself to this day to say Shanann's name or acknowledge Shanann having a name. Fast forward to present day. On the documentary, you see that Chris Watts was found guilty of 4 counts of the murders for his wife, their unborn baby, and the 2 baby girls. His family then came to the stand saying they forgive him and they love him and support him. Now, with his family supporting him publicly on the stand on trial, plays into some of the notion during the documentary that Shanann and Christopher's parents did not get along well. Since the interrogation of Nicole Kessinger and the prosecution and trial of Chris Watts, they have had no contact. Nicole Kessinger hasn't had any contact with anyone since all of this happened. People believe that she may have changed her appearance and changed her name. Apparently, she had spoken to the FBI in regards to how she can go about changing her name. The prosecution team claims that they didn't look further into Nicole Kessinger because they had all the evidence and information they needed to charge Chris Watts fully with all of the murders. So it only shows the back end of Nicole Kessinger to the point where we discovered that there was a mistress involved in the case, like Christopher had mentioned and admitted, and like Shanann had already assumed. So Nicole Kessinger never had to testify against him. She was never placed on trial. She never took the stand as a witness of any means. She has just completely disappeared off the face of the earth. So this case really makes you think. Do you think Nicole Kessinger had way more to do with it than she claims? Do you think the altercation that Chris describes as to his reasoning of killing Shanann and the children on that night is valid? Do you think Chris did it for his parents that never liked Shanann, and that way he could just not have to deal with any more conflict with his parents and be free of everything? Chris has made a tell-all book about himself, and in this book he sheds more light on the case that was also not included in the Netflix documentary. He tells the author that the reason he killed Shanann and their children is because he was so blinded by the love that he had for Nicole Kessinger. He thought it would just be better if Shanann and the kids completely disappeared. He wouldn't have to deal with fighting with his parents about her anymore, and he could just run off into the sunset and start his new life with Nicole Kessinger and not have the baggage of any of the children or look like a bad guy that left his wife for a mistress. So tell me what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below if you've watched this documentary and what your thoughts are on this case and who you think Nicole Kessinger is, what type of person you thought Shanann was, and what type of person you think Chris is. I'm curious to see what other knowledge and research that everyone else has dug up. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of this video. Let me know if you want to hear more murder, mystery, crime stories from me. Being a criminal justice major, I've always been drawn to these types of stories. It is something that very much intrigues me and interests me, and I am very passionate about it. So if you want more videos like this, let me know. Maybe I can start a little series. Let me know what cases you guys would want me to cover and how you'd want me to start it. And if you hate it, then you hate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and go ahead and click that subscribe button down below if you haven't already, and don't forget to turn on your notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a brand new video, and I will see you guys next week. Happy Halloween! Hey, Jax.